Welcome to the community meeting in October for NeoNephos Foundation. Maybe just as a quick housekeeping, did you guys receive the invite correctly? So I heard from Florian that he had some problems with Outlook. If there's any problem, please let me know. Then I would follow up that these invites will be correctly sent through the system. Yeah, but besides that, welcome. Um, just as a short notice, we have the antitrust policy notice from the Linux Foundation, just to mention that, and then I would go ahead with the presentation. So basically, for the new people here in the room, I would also quickly go through what is NeoNephos, and also where are we right now, what are we doing, and I hope that the colleagues from the Catalyst project could give a project update today, since it's really interesting what they're doing right now. And then we can also have a short Q&A and see if there are any questions, and if there are any topics we can collaborate on. All right. So NeoNephos Foundation. What is it? The NeoNephos Foundation is a project which started out of our Apiro project, which is part of IPSAI-CIS. IPSAI-CIS stands for Important Project for European Common Interest, and initiated by the European Governance. And we as SAP, we started with Apiro as with our development for infrastructure cloud services. And that's where also NeoNephos came in as to bring like a governance structure for all of these projects and to get a home out of that, what you see in the bottom. Basically we are building a cloud native blueprint, which you can use pragmatically designed and not only academically. We are working agile and try to build a blueprint which everybody can use, which is not one turnkey solution, but you can pick the best out of worlds what you want to use, or if you have some legacy projects, you can also just put everything together. We are open and want to give you the freedom of what you want. And basically, we stand for that we have like an open governance. We want to be transparent and want to promote like that governance structure model, that we want to build that community, that everyone has the same rights and the ability to promote the projects and to collaborate on the projects what we are currently building. And yeah, I think that is really a community structured way how to go forward. On the other side, what I wanted to show, as I was at the Linux Foundation Open Source Summit in August, there was the President Gabriele Colombo, which showed this slide, and I think that's really interesting, as you could normally ask, okay, how can I participate in an open source project, in a foundation? And oftentimes people say, yeah, I don't have any money, but it's also that you can just participate with your workforce, right? So normally when you want to use an open source project, it's also fine that your workforce just get some upstream contributions to the project. And that's what I just wanted to show. Of course, we want to get memberships, but on the other side, it's also great to get the contributions to the projects. This is right now the latest membership list of everyone we welcome to the foundation. I think last time the Ape Factory joined as a general member. We are currently also in discussions with some companies joining. There should be an update in the next community call soon, hopefully. And with that, what I also wanted to show is the projects. These are our current projects, what we are currently working on. As I told, we have Catalyst today, which will show what they are working on. And on the other side, we have the other projects, which are currently SAP projects. And we are currently also having new projects in the pipeline. I think 3 projects which are currently evaluated by the TAC and Linux Foundation. And hopefully in the next months, we will also see that these projects will join the foundation as soon as possible. What I also wanted to show you is this is our governance structure. And basically, we have our governing board with the premium members, with SAP, STACKIT, and T-Systems. And we have our general members. And we have one rule in the foundation that every 5 general member, we get the representative. And this voting for the first representative was just in September. And I don't know if the representative joined today, but I will also give you an update later on. On the other side, sorry for that. On the other side, we have like our open source projects, like in this case, Gardener, where you can start contributing to the projects as a outside developer, or you would be like a member of the technical steering committee as a committer. And the technical steering committee is responsible for the entire project in general. Every technical steering committee is defining a lead, the technical steering committee lead, which will be also part of the technical advisory council, which is giving updates to the governing board and in general giving guidance how the development of the foundation will work. Okay, so where are we right now? So basically, Christian Behrendt, the CEO from 23 Technologies, was voted as a general member representative. So happy, I'm really happy to welcome you to the governing board. And I'm not sure if he's available today. Let me have a look. I cannot see him. So, but basically, Christian Behrendt is joining us together with the TAC in the governing board. And this is our next general member representative. So basically, every 5 member, we are currently 9, gets a board seat. The next one will be there with 1 additional general member. One update, what we wanted to talk about is the Zulip communication channel. So basically, we have now a Zulip channel on Linux Foundation side. So if you want, you can just take a photo of that QR code, join the chat, and have a conversation with us if you have questions and so on, or just want to have a chat. Just click on the link or scan the QR code. This is currently just created for us as we are some first foundation, one of the first foundations which joined Zulip. But as soon as we are getting more members, it would be great to have these nice discussions with you. And so where are we right now from a roadmap perspective? So basically, last time I saw a lot of colleagues from you at the Linux Foundation Open Source Summit in August. Currently, we are finalizing our project transition phase. So basically, finalizing together with the Linux Foundation and the project colleagues, for example, for Catalyst, that yeah, the project lifecycle document. What does it mean? Going from phase to phase from a project, and also we are planning like a budget roadmap for the next 12 months, where we want to decide where the foundation wants to be headed, like which conferences want to we attend, what are the decisions from the TAC. All of these topics are currently defined, and you should yeah, hear anything soon about it. And basically, the next events where we will attend are in Belgium, in Ghent, at the member summit from the Linux Foundation, and the roadshow, which will happen on the next day. And basically, that's currently it, what I wanted to share. And in general, I wanted to have like an open discussion of what are you interested in? Do you see any issues right now with the foundation? Any blockers, how to join the foundation, or maybe something from TNO, if there are any projects you want to talk about, you want to bring in?
Well, I do have a question, or
Mhm.
maybe several. We're looking at NeoNephos as a place to position projects and future projects in our IPSAISys project, of course. One of the things we want to understand, not only TNO, but we're a consortium, so there are more parties and also commercials. They want to understand how it works with respect to the Linux Foundation Europe and then the Linux Foundation non-Europe, global, whatever. How is that formally organized? You showed a picture with the organization for the NeoNephos Foundation, but how does it, what's the broader picture there?
So basically, Linux Foundation Europe has a primary seat in Brussels, while the main Linux Foundation is based in the US. So basically, it's two different entities. I don't know, John, if you want to say something about it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you wanted some help on answering that question. For those on the call here, my name is John Murtick. For those of you who were used to working with Esther in the past, Esther has just went out on maternity leave, so she's going to be out a few months. I'm one of our program directors as a part of our PMO team. I'm based in the US, just actually outside of Cleveland, Ohio. So part of where I'm working with this group on is specifically around helping support. We have some practices just from a back-end process perspective to help with some of our European projects to make sure we kind of have a similar, process. I guess kind of backing up a little bit what Christian was saying, all of the projects that are established are done within the EU entity. So we have a Linux Foundation Europe entity, and all of the projects for NeoNephos Foundation are done in there, including the NeoNephos Foundation directed fund. It's based out of the LF Europe, fund that's already existing there as well. Even the entire budget is done in euros, just to add pieces on there. So I don't know if that was sort of the question you were looking to answer, or I can also answer more if you have from there.
No, thanks. It already helps. One of our partners had the question if there's any formal relation between the two entities, so the EU one and the US-based one.
Yeah, I mean, we do have relationships both because, that is sort of like a European entity, within that. So there is sort of a relationship there exists. I can't speak to exactly how that works just because I am not an expert on all of that, but there is a relationship there. And these projects on the Europe side, we do leverage, some of our existing structures and staffing and other sort of resources and stuff that come from our US side. But there is also a fair amount of Europe staff that works directly on these projects as well.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
But maybe, Machiel, what is the concern? Just to be able to note it down and take, maybe get back to the LF legal entity and ask the question. I know that SAP had similar questions about carryover. You know, I don't think Cloud Act or something like that would play a role here because we're not running services, but collecting IP. But what is the kind of concern? Just to, you know.
Yeah, it's the idea of having sovereign things in Europe, basically, which is a vague notion, and it's going the rounds in government and in other places. So we are looking for sort of, you know, can we say that putting projects under NeoNephos truly is a sovereign, for some definition of that word, solution for Europe? That is I think, summarizing the high level idea. I don't know how to formally satisfy this request, to be honest. I'm just asking this question out loud. And
no, I get it. I get it. Then I can answer you because we went under we had a similar, you know, decision matrix under which why we chose LF-EU would have been also an alternative, which is also where we are co-founders, or Eclipse, or I'm breaking up.
There was some dropout, I'm afraid, when you were talking.
Okay, maybe I'll turn off my video. Am I audible better now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I think that there was a decision matrix more or less, and I'll kind of try to keep it short. Yeah, but essentially, you know, it's the question: can we really be autarky, more or less, or is it around sovereignty? Because if you think about it, all the components that we need for the mission statement are Linux Foundation components mostly. I mean, yes, you could say Java is in Eclipse, and there's some Kafka is in Apache, and so on. Yeah, but we value the cooperation with the Linux Foundation foundations like the CNCF, like OpenSSF, and so on. That is much more valuable than you know, a legal, let's say, separation. Yeah, we could still collaborate. That's not a problem, but we'd like to use the infrastructure of the Linux Foundation because then we are an equal partner. That's essentially to collapse that matrix into key, you know, arguments for you, right? And it will not service anywhere to just have a legal entity in Europe creating our IP over there and have a disconnect and not be a equal partner in the KubeCon, in the roadmaps, in the roadshows, and so on. We'd have to create all of this infrastructure ourselves. That is, to boil it down, the reason. Yeah.
Thanks, Fazu. I think that helps, and I totally subscribe to the argument made here, in particular because the software that we're looking at realistically is our global efforts. Let's just say that we would need to convince some people here that are maybe less technically known to all these things, and that's why I'm asking. And I think I can probably make a step into an answer for them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you think about higher level services, where, you know, next generation internet and all these kinds of, they might require different, you know, communities, and then NeoNephos might not be the right choice. But that's basically our argumentation. Yeah. All right. Try to keep it short.
Yeah, I mean, generally, you could ask, should I join CNCF? Should I join NeoNephos? What is the difference, right? And we are comparing that, like, we are the small town compared to the CNCF with over 200 projects. And the question is, how do I get even the projects into the CNCF? So how do I get the visibility of my project into CNCF. And I think that is really hard in the beginning, and that's also one reason why we created NeoNephos to highlight these projects better. How do they fit? How do they overlap? And of course, we want to grow also with the projects, but I think it's really valuable to from a promotion point of view.
I could ask some more questions, but maybe somebody else wants to get some time.
And I will say, just as a comment, if there's desire within this group to have partnership with CNCF on like a collaboration or otherwise promotion basis, I mean, both projects being part of the Linux Foundation family, those are things that we can help coordinate if that is sort of some of the direction that folks would like to do.
Okay, so basically, I mean, if you have an additional question, you can also raise it right now. But if not, we also have Christian in the call, also Roberto, and I guess you guys would explain us something about Catalyst later on, right? So.
Thanks, Chris. So I will right away hand over to Roberto and to Sergi, from Nearby Computing and Telecom Italia. And Roberto will give us an overview, and Sergio will also give some technical details, what we are doing in the project. Thanks.
So thanks, Christian, for introducing. So hi everyone, this is my first meeting which I'm presenting. My name is Roberto Querio and I'm from TEAM. So we are involved in the Catalyst project. I prepared just a very few slides. It's the first time. I don't want to take too much time, but just to give you an idea on what we are doing, what we have in mind, and share this with you so that we can create links with all the other things that are going on inside the NeoNephos. So I don't have the good template that you presented before about NeoNephos. I will update it next time. I just took the logs and put in a blank presentation. So what's our story so far and what we are doing? So we, and I say talking about telco operators, but this is only the only time that I want to mention this, because when we talk about cloud, we talk about cloud in general. It's not about the telco cloud or cloud in general. We want to do something that is valuable for cloud in general. So we were involved with Federation since a few times. We were working on it inside a group that is called GSMA OPG, designing a way to federate different clouds through inter-domains interfaces. We were working on it. We did experimentation, pilot projects, and at the end of the day, we understood that it was very important for interoperability of different clouds and to really create a federation to implement a reference open source implementation of what we call a federation manager. We were already thinking about it. Then the opportunity of NeoNephos came up. I have to thank also Christian that introduced us to the project and suggested it, and we thought this was a very good place to bring our contributions about cloud federation, since the project is targeting a full cloud reference architecture, and so we thought this would be the best place to bring inside this Catalyst project our contribution. So we want to design a solution that is adaptable to any federation model, interoperable between any type of cloud, of course, in an open, inclusive, and collaborative way. Really high level. So our first idea while we were starting this was to create a full implementation that included let's say an orchestrator and an orchestrator being able to federate itself with other orchestrators. I don't want to go too much in the technical details here, but at the end of the day, we understood that in different domains there are very different solutions about what the companies are doing inside their own domains with respect to orchestration. So we thought, let's put it in common in a reference implementation, only the key element for the interoperability. So the element that will allow a general orchestrator to talk with another domain, and we call this a federation manager, which can be adapted to many different orchestrators implemented in them, and let it talk with another domain in the same language. What is this language that we are referring? So as I said before, we are starting working with something that we already had, that was an east-west-bound interface that was REST-based, and that came from the specification of GSMA OPG. We understood that in the meantime, technology evolved, and we wanted to ensure a more modern, robust architecture. So what we are doing here is to take what we had in, and you can see that in the phase one, implementing a Kubernetes operator to that can talk with orchestrators in a Kubernetes native way, and then adapt it to the current implementation of an API REST interface. But we want to be future-proof while keeping interoperability with what already exists. So we have a path of evolution from the current implementation of phase one to another implementation that is able always in Kubernetes way, but to speak in the, let's say, old language with the new full Kubernetes one, and then progressively totally adopting the full Kubernetes adaptation. What do we have? We already have first contributions for the first model, which is soon we will have a working implementation, and in parallel we are producing contribution with respect to what we call here the phase two. I don't know if it was clear. I didn't want to take too much time in the call. Of course, we are available for any details. We would really be interested in understanding how this thing that we are building here can be valuable for the rest of the NeoNephos project, and also please Christian and Sergey, if you have something to add. I try to do a brief overview, but please, if I forgot something, help me here.
Thanks, Roberto, for this first overview. Sergio, do you have the more detailed ones?
Yeah, I have some, let's say, deeper technical on the operator part, if you want, if that's okay, I can share.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay. I cannot share if you're sharing, Roberto. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Just Sergey, before going with the technical part, does anyone have any question about generally the architecture, the approach that we are taking, any inputs from any other NeoNephos participants? Then if questions come up, we are always available. So Sergey, please,
Sure. And
let's go.
I also have some slides on the architecture. So if any question can go back to Roberto, it's fine from my side, no problem. So I will share if I can. So just to, yeah, okay. So just to, oops. Can you see my screen? All perfect?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, thanks. When we started working on this OpenShift Federation that Roberto was talking about, when we integrated these APIs in our orchestrator, by the way in which our orchestrator is built, which is Kubernetes based and let's say very much oriented to use custom resources, and it let's say works very well with Kubernetes operators. Our idea, and this was something that we started doing with Telefonica because we are very closely working on this part of the East-West bound interface, and we showcased it in the Mobile World Congress actually, in last Mobile World Congress, a demo using these APIs. We thought that this mechanism of federation could have been a good idea to put it as a bundle and a plugin for our orchestrator and publish it as an open source in an open source organization or like NeoNephos in order to telcos to be able to accelerate their adoption for this and to be able to plug it in their orchestrators faster, let's say, than an in-house development. So the road to be able to provide this federation between telcos is, let's say, faster or easier, and try to focus on galvanize the solution rather than starting from scratch. This is something that in our company we have worked for quite some time already. We had different implementations, but in the end we ended up doing a Kubernetes operator. So the Kubernetes operator, I will point here. It also comes, as Roberto said, with an API, which makes the whole communication. And this is the Federation Manager box here. In our case, this Federation Manager is integrated with our orchestrator with our own components. And this is not part of what we are providing as open source implementation for the Kubernetes operator. But what we are providing in this implementation is the actual logic of sending information from different Kubernetes through the East-West bound API of OPG. Let me clarify this point with another slide. This slide has been going around in GSMA forums for quite a while now, so some people has already seen it. But the idea that we are trying to accomplish here is to create custom resources through our orchestrator into an operator, and this operator reacts to these custom resources and sends requests to an API, which in turn, this is in the other side of the equation, let's say, in turn turns this request in custom resources that stay in the other operator cluster. So the controllers are, let's say, mirroring all the requests, all the CRs that are creating in Kubernetes via HTTP request and Federation API. And we did it like this because at first this was not an open source project. It was not sure how other implementations there will be, on how we wanted to integrate with other operators. So we wanted to maintain the interface of the API because we didn't know what other orchestrators might want to do. And as Roberto explained, this is different phases of the same project. There are telcos that are more interested in keeping the API, other operators that want to go straight ahead and use Kubernetes controllers to manage this. In our case, we have developed this contribution with the Federation API in the middle, and all the controllers work to use the Federation API. What we are contributing, and it's going to be public by the end of the week, is a subset of the East-West bound interface, which allows the creation of all the Federation artifact file application instances that are needed for to send all the data. and this application instance will pop as an application instance as well, a CR application instance in the other end. And then, as I said before, the orchestrator needs to be able to react to this application instance and create the actual application. So we are providing a Kubernetes operator that models all the data that the OPG interface requires, but there is not a final actuation on the deployment in, let's say, in the edge or in the cluster. This is something that we have made in-house, but every operator needs to do. However, of course, the different elements of this contribution allow for this modification and to be able to create more controllers, to be able to modify the endpoints of the Federation API. And what the idea, I think, is to move forward with a common ground. And I myself, I'm trying to lead the task of standardizing these Federation CRDs or approach, let's say, based on Kubernetes operators, to try to put it in the OPG standards of GSMA and try to bring forward this cloud native approach to orchestration inside telcos. That's it for me. I don't know if I was clear. If you have more questions.
Sergey, can I ask a question? Not to this is maybe not the right point, but I see that your controllers are doing callbacks and requests through a specific Federation API. That is an imperative API, and that's not the declarative Kubernetes API. So the end consumer API, but the internal workings, you still need the imperative. That's the speciality of the OPG. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, exactly. So we try to make, let's say, the declarative approach, and we try to distillate, I don't know how to say it, to get the declarative approach from the imperative API that the GSMA has provided in order to maintain operability with other different implementations that might not have to be an operator. But yeah, the Federation API is the GSMA imperative interface.
Yeah, Vasu, that's exactly the point that we want to address here, in the sense that the architectures like this for interoperability with already exists, but we want to proceed with a path for having a full Kubernetes-based approach, even within different domains, which is the challenge here.
Yeah, totally get
we
it.
already have an implementation. We want to keep what's good on those REST API, in the sense that the meaning, like what are the parameters, what are we exchanging in terms of how do we federate, what is the service that we're federating. This we can keep, but we need to, let's say, modernize everything in terms of technology.
It's the phase one that you basically depicted, no? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
This is exciting. Yeah, good.
Great to hear that feedback. Thank you. Okay. So if no more questions, I will stop presenting.
So maybe just one more comment. Yeah, source code will be also available in the GitHub. I think we are maybe a bit slower than all the other projects, but things are coming up. Yeah. Also, John, you let's say wanted to know all the formalities. Yeah. When you go to the GitHub repos and account of NeoNephos Catalyst, then you might not find everything already in place, but I promise we are working on that day by day and complete it in the next days and weeks, and then you find everything what you need, and hopefully you find the time with your teams also to try things out. And this is a bit, let's say, from our telco perspective, but as Roberto said, yeah, we would like to bridge and also maybe serve as a kind of blueprint, because not everyone is already on this, let's say, modern stack approach. Yeah, and therefore maybe we can also contribute here and have provide a benefit. Thanks for having us
Yes.
today.
Yeah. Just adding on, I want to highlight what Christian said. So yes, we are bringing our experience as telco, but we want to target something that use cloud neutral, let's say. And this is consensus there is a consensus of this in the community. At least from my understanding, that we want to do something very cloud generic. This must be an objective.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. Do we have any open questions regarding that? Or in general regarding NeoNephos projects, contributions?
I do have some remaining questions if maybe nobody else has.
Yeah.
So perhaps this is already documented somewhere. I had a brief look earlier in the week, but let's say we have a project. How is it decided who gets to commit on that? And in general, how do you see the autonomy of the project members regarding direction, let's say functionally and technically? Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, so basically I showed the presentation about the governance structure, right? Where we see a project has contributors and the project has committers. So basically the committers are the people who have still the rights about deciding about the roadmap, about the development. We have the contributors which can open pull requests. But these pull requests don't need to be accepted, right? So if they don't comply with the project where it's headed, the committers don't need to accept it. And that's also something how these projects can stay autark. So we have out of these committers, so let's say there are 10 committers. There could be like the technical steering committee who is deciding on everything, and that's like also how outside people could try to interact. So if you open a pull request the first time, you're just a contributor, right? And what does it mean to earn the rights to be a permanent committer, right? So that's something where you need to earn your credits, your trust to the project, to the team, that you're a valuable member of the project. And that's something which takes time. You could then raise an issue to that project team to be added to the central team. But in general, we want to have the project self-secured, and that's also how external forces are not able to just come in and change something if they want.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, the sort of the existing pool of committers decides how to evolve that group.
It's a duocracy.
Yeah.
Whoever does basically has the right, and only those who do in the can extend someone. So it's difficult to get a foreign actor into your decision-making group for your project if he's not proven himself to be trustworthy, more or less, right? So each project keeps its autonomy. Now, the question you may ask is then what does the TAC and so on, can they override certain things, right? So first of all, even your project has a membership in the TAC with one member to come in. But let's start maybe from the governing board. So the first things, the legal stuff that we clarify is we kind of said, look, we'd like to have an open license that is enterprise usable, right? So these are the things, projects that come in cannot just do a license rug pull, right? These are the legal requirements. That's where we kind of, cut off a little bit of your autonomy. You can't just say, I'll now change the license structure, right?
Yeah.
The second part, but this is a real democratic decision making, is that if in the TS in the TAC where everybody is together, I'm just making this stupid scenario. We decide everybody has to now program Java, and everybody who's still on Golang has to migrate to Java, right? Then that could be a technically endorsed thing that will cut your autonomy. But that is a stupid scenario. This will not happen. But what may happen is that we ask, okay, is what you're doing cloud native? Are you scalable? Are you violating things that your project cannot be used in other scenarios where we make these let's say first principle assumptions, right? Those kinds of things, right? And I think more or less Florian and the others who are in the TAC do this. This will not be a dictatorship. There will be a common discussion and then a conclusion and recommendation. We just like in the CNCF, we work with recommendations. We are not yet in the phase that we are, as a foundation, have like 5 years under our belly, and we can say, hey, we now need to clean out what are the different variants. We first want to collect and see how how this thing grows together. And there are already various different ideas, right? And we applaud that. It's not just SAP has it easy in this sense, right? We just took what we already did, and that also required a lot of cross-platform discussions. Let me put it that way. But we came to a conclusion. This is what we do. Therefore, what we've projected inside the NeoNephos kind of all makes sense because it's cloud native, but this doesn't mean that we have the last word. That's Does that elevate? Answer you. I'm thinking you're thinking about Chantico, right? And
yeah, exactly. And by the way, I'm right now not only speaking for TNO because we have several Dutch IPSI projects, and together we decided, hey, let's figure out what open source options there are. Of course, TNO is already an associate member of NeoNephos. Maybe we are a little bit ahead of those. We're also figuring out, okay, do we have sort of joint concerns, and can we come up with a good answer to those? So that is why I'm asking these questions. But Chantico is one of our components that we definitely consider open sourcing. And the number one place we intend to do that at the moment is NeoNephos, clearing, of course, our legal department that's still pending. But otherwise, I think it has a good chance.
Perfect. Nice to hear. Yeah.
There is a third question, if nobody else wants some time. So let's go ahead. We are an associate member in NeoNephos. Is that sufficient to actually put projects in the foundation? Or
Yes. So I mean, I
Absolutely.
showed that slide where I mean, of course, you can be member, right? I mean, membership brings the money, but in the end, what
You
sorry,
went on mute.
I don't hear you anymore.
Oh, I'm back. Hopefully, I'm back now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So either you bring the money as a member, but what's also important is being an active contributor, right? Without like the people, a foundation is nothing. So we need the active contributions to the projects, and you don't need to be a member to bring in a project.
Okay.
So it's totally fine that you're an associate member and contribute to your project.
Yeah, so a project ultimately consists of committers and contributors, and of course we would like to grow those groups. And you said as a project, you have a member on the board, on the technical advisory board, right? Or committee. Does that
Yeah, that's
require
right.
membership? Sorry.
No, it doesn't. So if you can create, you can contribute to project, even if you're not member, then the contributors of those of this project will elect one person that should be represent the project in the TAC. None of those people need to be member.
Okay. Okay. This was a simple question. Thanks. No further questions for me. Thanks a lot, guys. A lot cleared up, and I'll get in touch once we know more about our own projects.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and we can have a meeting about it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I guess it takes time being a member, becoming an active member, bringing in contributions. What does it mean for me, for the company? What's the business case about open sourcing something? I think these are the typical questions which you normally have. And yeah, happy to hear from that project more. All right. So are there any additional questions?
I think while we are talking about this, I'm just seeing that Annika is also there. Sorry to call you out, Annika. Have you already approached? I know you wanted to do something with Kubera. Have you approached the TAC and made a formal proposition already, or is that? Can we do that the next time, maybe? I see, Annika, you're on mute, but we're not.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Now
Yeah.
I can hear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, exactly. So we are still thinking about it. And I was also wondering, like, are there criteria which we have to meet with our project so we can bring it to NeoNefos, or should we just write you a mail to the TAC and then we discuss about it? Or
Florian, how do you want to deal with it?
Yeah, we are currently in the process of formalizing all those things and writing them down. So for now, the best way would probably to approach the TAC,
Okay.
and then we can either set up a meeting or clarify things via email. As I said, the official documentation of this is in progress.
So
Okay.
basically, you can just write a mail to the mailing list of the TAC, and then everybody is involved.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to let you know,
I
I
will
will
come back
be
to you.
okay, yeah. I will be on holidays for 1 week and then I will write the mail.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. With that, I would say we are on top of the time. If you have questions and you want to talk with me, with us directly, you can also get in contact with us on Zulip or send a mail with the mailing list. And if not, I would wish you a nice of the day and see you soon. Bye.